Hello class, welcome to my video for this week's sampling technology and discussion assignment. I've chosen to present on the programming language Kotlin. When working on your Android application, if you didn't use Kotlin as your language, I'm sure you saw it mentioned while reading about Android development. As of this year, Google has actually stated that Kotlin is the official language for Android development. The simplest way to describe Kotlin is that it is an alternative to Java. Created back in 2011, the developers of the language have actually stated that Kotlin is designed to be a better language than Java. Kotlin has been designed for multiple platforms, including the Java Virtual Machine, Android environment, native environments, server-sided environments, and can also be transpiled into JavaScript. So beyond that, some of the things that make Kotlin cool is that pretty much if Java can do it, Kotlin can too as well in most cases. Also, Kotlin features interoperability with Java, which means that you can call Java code into your Kotlin program and have it function normally as if it was Kotlin code, and vice versa. You can actually use, in a Java application, you can call Kotlin code into your Java application and have it work as if it was Java code. Kotlin as a language itself, it is generally less verbose than Java, which means that you can accomplish more while writing less code, which is always a good thing. A big advantage over Java that Kotlin has is that it has additional safety features added into it that help to protect against null pointer errors. One example of this is that they have nullable references, which means you can actually set references to a nullable type, so that way if they're null, it won't throw a null pointer error. Some weaknesses of Kotlin is that it is a young language. It's only 8 years old at the moment, which is both good and bad because where it's so young, it's really hard to tell which direction to go. In a few years, it could be gone, or in a few years, it could have the same market industry presence that Java does. Another issue slash weakness that I see with the Kotlin language is that it does try to do a lot. The developers have stated they want to have Kotlin running as many platforms as possible, which I've kind of thought could lead to it end up being a master of none language. But that's just something we're going to kind of have to see how the language develops over the years and where the developers really end up taking it. So as far as specific to the language itself, there aren't really any security issues or privacy matters that I've read about. So for learning Kotlin, the learning curve really isn't that crazy. Once you get the hang of the major syntax changes from Java, it's a pretty easy to use language for writing code in, and I've found it pretty enjoyable to write in, especially where it's less verbose than Java. It really feels good to get more done sooner. Kotlin is actually already, another cool fact, Kotlin is already being used by major companies in their development, primarily their app development. Some of these companies are like Prezi, Amazon Web Services, Pinterest, Coursera, Netflix, Uber, Square, Trello, Basecamp, Expedia. Those are some of the largest companies that I've found that are using Kotlin in their applications. So let's look at what I have on the screen right here. Here are two identical applications in functionality. On the left is the application written in Kotlin, and then on the right we have it written in Java. Let's look at the Java side first, since most people are going to be more familiar with Java. So we have two class files, a main one and then a student one. Let's look at the student one first. The student one contains two variables here at the top. We've got credits left and graduated, and then we have the respective getter and setter methods for these two variables. Now, in our main class, at the start we can see that we create a student object that has 30 credits left to graduate right here, and then we have in our while loop executes while the student has yet to graduate, and then in this while loop, the student takes a class until the student has graduated. And then as we can see in the output below that the student takes courses all the way until they've graduated, and then they get the notification that they've graduated. So pretty straightforward. Now let's look at the Kotlin side of things. At the top, we see our declaration of the student class as well as the take class that the Java student class also had. So methods in Kotlin are actually they are declared as using this word fun here instead of, say, public void, whatever. So in Kotlin, important to note, a big difference is that the parameters are backwards. as we can see here, the variable actually comes first, and then the variable type comes afterwards, which, if you're not used to it, can be kind of confusing looking at first. But as we can see here, at the top is how our student class is declared. Then we've got the setting function that we saw in our student class of Java. And then right here, fun main is actually the entry point for the Kotlin programming language, as opposed to public static void main. So in here, the Kotlin program is the same functionality-wise as the Java program. Right here, we are creating our student object. We are looping until our student has graduated, and they are taking a class. They are taking classes till they graduate, and we have the exact same output below. So I highly encourage you to experiment with Kotlin, especially if you are interested in mobile development. Most major Java IDEs like IntelliJ or Android Studio support the Kotlin language. Part of this reason is because the company that actually makes Android Studio and IntelliJ, the company's called JetBrains, they actually are the developers of the language Kotlin as well. So that's it for my presentation. Thank you for watching.